Hello there, good evening and welcome to Ghana Tonight. I'm Kamini Amano, our top stories this hour. President Mahama says his government has a plan to eliminate no-bed syndrome, which continues to put patients' lives at severe risk. Tonight, those guidelines come under scrutiny. Also coming up this hour, police and Ghana Armed Forces received separate commendation for recent operations as President Mahama talks retooling of security services. Also coming up, government to shift focus to basic education amid plans to improve the teaching and learning process across all levels of education. Ghana Tonight is live on TV3 and on 392.7 FM. You may also be watching us on 3news.com, youtube.com, x.com, facebook.com. And if you'd like to be a part of the program, remember to use the hashtag Ghana Tonight alongside your thoughts, comments, or questions. Let's get the show rolling with Ghana Brief.
President John Dramani Mahama says the country's economic credibility has been restored and is currently ranked among the top 10 countries in Africa. He says difficult decisions have been taken to ensure stability, adding that government is now ready to implement the 24-hour economy and other flagship policies.
We did not arrest the dollar. We strengthened the cedi to put up a good fight against the other currencies. I can say to you with confidence, Ghana is back. Ghana is working again. And Ghana is open for business. Mr. Speaker, our nation is on the runway. It is in takeoff mode. And you are all advised to fasten your seat belts.
The family of 29-year-old Charles Emisa, the hit-and-run victim who was turned away by 3 hospitals, says their grief must not be in vain as they look to action following his burial. Relatives say they are hopeful the growing national attention will help end the no-bed syndrome in the healthcare system.
We are hoping that the government has heard our cry, has heard the cry of the people, and they'll be able to meet in Parliament and be able to pass an emergency care bill that will put some fear, how to put sympathy and everything in our health workers. We want him to be remembered as the one who ended a no-bed syndrome in this country.
The Gbeniri community, after months of communal conflicts, claimed 38 lives. Receiving the Mediation Committee's report, the Interior Minister stressed that beyond physical reconstruction, efforts must be directed at rebuilding trust and restoring social cohesion among residents.
Once trust is lost among people, it's much easier to lose the trust. You can just lose it in a day. But to rebuild it, you can't rebuild it in just one day. It will require consistent and a lot of effort. So we'll be calling on every well-meaning Ghanaian to further help in solidifying the social cohesion in this area is something that will be most welcome.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Railways Development Authority, Dr. Frederick Apple, in advocating a measure between his outfit and the Ghana Railway Company Limited, describing the current two-entity structure as unsustainable. Dr. Apple argues that with Ghana's operational rail network currently spanning less than 135 kilometers, maintaining two separate institutions is inefficient and financially burdensome.
I want to confirm that I'm rushing to Accra to the Ministry of Finance, pushing for the payment for the release of the 20.6. It's not 21, 20.6 million. Then, of course, we will look at the remaining few months.
President John Dramani Mahama has urged supporters and individuals who are interested in going to North America for the 2026 World Cup to return after the tournament. Mahama is hoping the tournament, which will be hosted in Mexico, USA and Canada, will not carry the same fate as previous competitions, where supporters overstay their visas.
This year, we will strengthen Ghana's standing in the major global and continental sporting events. We will make our 5th FIFA World Cup appearance. And for us, this is an opportunity to boost national branding and the economy beyond just sports. Mr. Speaker, supporters and other people interested in going to support their team would have to submit visa request to the American Embassy. We are being told that we must ensure that supporters who go return on the visas. It has taken a lot of work to restore Ghana's 5-year non-immigrant visas and take us off the ban list. It is my hope that this event will not send thousands of Ghanaians to America and get us back on the ban list.
You're live on TV3 and on 392.7 FM. I am Kemini Amano with Ghana Tonight. Tonight, President Mahama touts a resilient state of the nation. Let's get into that. Among reasons for this resilience, the president points to restoration of the country's economic credibility. Ghana now ranking top 10 countries in Africa. President Mahama says difficult decisions have had to be taken to ensure this stability, adding that government is now ready to implement the 24-hour economy and other flagship policies. He also tackles government's cocoa price reduction. Take a listen.
We did not arrest the dollar. We strengthened the cedi to put up a good fight against the other currencies. I can say to you with confidence, Ghana is back. Ghana is working again. And Ghana is open for business. Mr. Speaker, our nation is on the runway. It is in takeoff mode. And you are all advised to fasten your seat belts. We have had to take the painful but necessary decision to revise the producer price of cocoa to achieve competitive pricing and resolve the acute liquidity challenges in the sector. Mr. Speaker, failure to do this as others did and left a debt of 32 billion for this government to pay. Failure to do this would have meant borrowing billions in borrowed funds. Mr. Speaker, this unplanned expenditure would have taken us right back to the very devastating economic problem we have only recently begun to escape. So, Mr. Speaker, while fully understanding the concerns and protests of our farmers, I can firmly assure them that the reforms announced by government will see a total transformation of the cocoa sector. And it will guarantee them a fair and transparent price that enables them to meet the cost of producing the commodity and making decent margins. Mr. Speaker, the difference between economic hardship and avoiding the same is the exercise of sound economic judgment. And I'm determined to take decisions that ensure our collective well-being and avoid the suffering of all our citizens. These are difficult decisions to take, but Mr. Speaker, I had to take them.
Now, in his version of the State of the Nation, Minority Leader Alexander Apenyo-Markin flagged the government over its failures.
Let me thank you for the opportunity and thank Mr. President for living up to this constitutional obligation. But Mr. Speaker, what the President failed to tell the people of Ghana is that 1 year in government, he's still acting with slogans, no action. Mr. Speaker, electricity tariffs have skyrocketed and Ghanaians cannot afford electricity. We have thousands of Ghanaian youths who are, Mr. Speaker, can they be quiet and listen? Because if they misconduct themselves, we'll do the same thing to their leader. Keep quiet. They can't take away my time. If you don't keep quiet and listen to me, your leader cannot speak. If you don't know, I'm telling you. Mr. Speaker, thousands of Ghanaian youths were dismissed through a letter by the Chief of Staff. It's part of the State of the Nation. Mr. Speaker, as we speak, there is a scandal looming. Security Services Recruitment, TribeNet, we know who brought that company to the ministry. Kama has a way. And we, the minority, will pursue the person and make sure there's full disclosure. Mr. Speaker, the cocoa farmers, they have reduced producer price and Erikopoku cannot be found. They don't care about cocoa farmers and they are here telling us inflation, macroeconomics is ready. Macroeconomics is ready. Mr. Speaker.
Let's have a quick chat on the back of this wrap. Joining me now is Dr. Paulgrave Boakye Dankwa, former government spokesperson on governance and security. Also in this chat is Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere, political analyst and executive director of the Africa Institute of Strategic Studies. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time tonight. Let's start off with whether or not we were impressed by the president's, speech, perhaps the content of that speech, the state of the nation today. How impressed are you, Dr. Boakye Dankwa?
Well, Kimani, thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity. And to state that the President, John Dramani Mahama, had to do it because it's a constitutional mandate. I felt that the state of the nation was elaborate. He attempted to tackle every sector, which is important. And so, yeah, I mean, it's okay.
I see. Dr. Asante-Okyere, what's your take on that in terms of are we on the right path based on what the president has said so far?
Yeah, let me say good evening to your viewers, your good self, and then Dr. Paulgrave. I think what the president said is quite impressive. The point ought to be made that the key word that he used, that in actual fact fascinated me, is leadership. Leadership. The word leadership that he used in the beginning of his statement or his address was quite impressive. And it led us through a flawless speech in which you could imagine the body language. He exuded that kind of confidence in the way and manner he delivered the speech. And he did not in any way consider the disruptiveness that the minority brought, as he delivered.
There were disruptions?
Yes, of course. I mean, they started, on a very low note, and then it went onto a higher crescendo in terms of the noise. And of course,
well, I would have said that was normal parliamentary behavior. There wasn't any outrageous disruptions while the president was delivering his speech, wouldn't you say?
Well, it is just because he decided to ignore those, unnecessary noises that were coming from the minority.
Come on now. Even the president had time enough to address the minority leader while he was delivering his speech. I mean, where did you see the part where there was that disruption of what the president was saying?
Well, sometimes if he says something that affects the minority, for example, in terms of their governance, when he suggested that, well, it wasn't that loud anyway, when he said that he did not arrest the dollar, but rather he ensured that the cedi gained strength against the major currency.
Right.
Of course, that is the point line. That's a point line against Dr. Bawumia, certainly. And so you will hear some kind of murmurings here and there. But you know very well that in the beginning, both sides, appear disruptive. And then, of course, the majority wanted to let the minority know that they have numbers and they can shout, louder than them. But apart from that, I think that he delivered a very flawless speech. His body language, he exuded that kind of, he exuded some kind of courage. And I did not see him panic in any way and manner that he delivered. Apart from that, as Dr. Palgrave said, I am beginning to wonder exactly which part of the nation, in terms of the state of the nation, that he did not touch. This is perhaps the most detailed State of the Nation address that has been given by a president within the Fourth Republic. Very, very detailed, to the point that I was even getting bored because I felt that it was a little too detailed.
I see, Dr. Santocho, I'll hold you on that because I see to the corner of my left eye, Dr. Boakye Danquah. And, you're laughing, Dr. Boakye Danquah. Why?
Well, I think that he's praising the president. I just want us to look at a few things out of the State of the Nation address, which is for me of key concern. And one of them is the security of the country. Kimani, we are in a sub-region where the triggers are becoming increasingly worrying. And the terror attack, the threats of piracy, and the coup d'etats and Ghanaians that are being killed in various countries is extremely worrying. And of course, the president mentions the piracy attack that happened in Senya Breku over the weekend, which we appreciate his mention of that. But it's important that the president continually takes very key measures to ensure that the life and livelihood of the Ghanaian people are safe. And I get increasingly troubled with all the reports that I read and all the intelligence that I gather. And I keep asking myself, is our security not gathering those intelligence? How is it that we have fishermen who have gone maybe 25 to 37 nautical miles away from our borders, and our security are not able to gather that level of intelligence that there are pirates on the high seas? How is it that we have these tomato traders who continually go to the north region of Burkina Faso to be able to buy tomatoes and bring into Ghana, and our intelligence are not able to gather those level of surveillance and intelligence for our Ghanaian patrons and compatriots to be safe? I'm deeply concerned about that.
Dr. Danquah, we'll look at security in a tad, but I just want us to look at the general outlook of the state of the nation as we feel it as a people, and the version that the president has just addressed Parliament with. When you said that Dr. Santi-Okyere was praising the president because he thought that the State of the Nation, SONA 2026, was very elaborate, the president touched on everything. Why did you think it was praising? Was there something that the president left out? Was there anything that is not in tandem with our reality today?
Well, I mean, I stated with my initial comments that the president targeted every sector of the Ghanaian economy, and there was none aspect that was left out. And I think that it would be disingenuous to praising him and say that this is the best State of the Nation address in the Fourth Republic. I mean, every president would have their bit and bite and share of the economy as they see it. And I mean, every sector would come and give their reports. The president will present on behalf of the various ministers and ministries and MDAs that he has appointed. And so it's a normal liking skill that is put together for the president to be able to deliver that. And I think that mandate has been fulfilled.
The minority leader thinks that what we heard from the president is PR. What do you think about that?
Well, what I would say is that there are a lot of things that happens in Parliament. Those were his initial comments. They are going to be debating the State of the Nation on Tuesday. I think is it Tuesday or Monday? I think it's on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
They are going to be debating. They are going to be debating that on the floor of the House, and so we'll need to leave that to it. I think that those were initial parliamentary jargons that every now and then the majority and the minority would bring out.
It would appear to me you differ from that position. You do not think that what the president said is PR.
Well, I mean, the president is the first PR. And so, I mean, if the minority leader does say that the president did PR, who else should do PR other than the president? I mean, he leads the government machinery, and you are aware of the background of President John Dramani Mahama. And I really don't want to go into either agree or disagree with my leader. I mean, the leader is the leader. Whatever he says is what all of us as followers go through. But like I stated, I mean, these are just his initial comments. The debate of the SONA is going to be discussed next week when Parliament comes back to sitting.
So, gentlemen, can I just point out that it would appear both of you are saying the same thing, but perhaps from different lenses. Because Dr. Boakye Danquah, when Dr. Santi-Okyere said the speech was elaborate and for him it is the best SONA he has heard, you said he was praising in the president, but you couldn't disagree with him in your explanation. Did you realize that?
Oh, no. What I meant was that I mean, in this Fourth Republic, we had Jerry John Rawlings, we had John Agyekum Kufuor, we've had John Evans Atta Mills, we've had John Dramani Mahama Phase 1, we've had Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and then John Dramani Mahama Phase 2. And so at every aspect of the Ghanaian economy between 92 to 96, you would have at the time President Jerry John Rawlings expatiate well on how best the economy is to the Ghanaian people at that very particular time. And so you need to use those circumstances to be able to judge him. And then you would come to John Agyekum Kufuor, and then you will use his first of the State of the Nation address as well to be able to put the parameters together. And then you come to John Evans Atta Mills. And so to be able to say that John Dramani Mahama has delivered the best State of the Nation address, I mean, I think that for me is praise singing. But I can appreciate where he's coming from, because he's also looking at the fact that, yes, I mean, he feels that John, but I mean, it's not something that I would
let's agree to disagree on that. Let's agree to disagree on that. It's not the most important issue for tonight. It's not the most important issue for tonight.
Absolutely.
So let's look at some of the important stuff, right? Dr. Santi-Okyere, and I come to you on that. Besides the minority leader calling SONA 2026 PR machinery for the government, he also goes on to say that the Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, the former vice president, should be given his due when it comes to the Gold for Oil program. I want to hear your reaction to that, because it would seem that the success with the handling of our gold sector is being pinned on the gold for reserves program. Talk to me about that, Dr. Santi-Okyere.
Well, I can say that is not entirely the case. You know, I think you can look at financial prudence. Apart from that, you can equally talk about sustainable energy that they have been providing. You can equally talk about the most important thing, agric. The agric sector, if you look at the inflation, the food inflation that we witnessed in 2024, thereabout, over 27%, for it to come down up to the point that we are looking at 4.8 or 4.9 thereabout, that is significant. You see, the point also ought to be made that the only means by which you can understand and appreciate where the president is coming from is the economic indicators they inherited. What are they? Were they good? We were reduced to junk status. The inflation went as high as 54, came down to about 23.8. That was still very high. Also, what was happening? Look at interest rate. And then you can talk about debt to GDP ratio. These are actual facts on the ground. And if somebody should be able to do this within a year and a month, such a change is significant. And to be frank with you, this president is even running this country with 58 instead of 60. Of course, I understand where Dr. Palgrave was coming from in terms of security and other things. And I believe that by now, the president should ought to have nominated a substantive defense minister. I don't think that, such delay, exude confidence in the people that he's working with. I don't agree with him on that. By now, unless he wants to tell us that maybe he wants to do a realignment, add interior to defense, and then give it to one particular substantive minister.
He hasn't said that so far.
No, I'm not saying he said that. I said unless maybe he wants to do a realignment. Other than that, it is delaying, to be frank with you. And I think that it serves as some kind of indictment on the people who are within the party and those that he's working with. Up to now, he doesn't want to let us feel that there is nobody who is competent enough to take over defense. There's nobody who is competent enough to take on, environment. I think that by now he ought to have done that. Maybe in the next month or two, something of that sort will come up. But that being said, you see, for me, I have spoken about Galamsey on other platforms. You could see definitely still it is a problem within this country. But if you look at the trajectory of this particular government, you can appreciate the commitment that they have voted to. Now, the point also ought to be made that, look, the Forest Commission just made us know that by the end of 2024, they had given, over 8,000 hectares of land, of forest, for as concessions.
Right.
And I stand to be corrected. But all these things have contributed. If you're looking at insecurity, go and check President Kufuor's time. The moment he took over, there were issues of insecurity because Mr. Rawlings' era, had lasted a long period. People had done. The same thing happened when President Kufuor also left. And so some of these things, they really happened in the early period of a new government. But I believe that on the benefit of hindsight and the experience that he's had over the period, he should be able to deal with issues of security.
And in fact, Galamsey is one of the issues we'll perhaps look at in the next stage of the conversation because it ties in with security as well. The minority leader pointed out that there wasn't much heard about the fight against Galamsey, particularly because the president had campaigned on that as well, come into office for a year, and a bit more was supposed to be said about the fight against illegal mining. But before I let you go, Dr. Asante Okyere in particular, based on what you have said, the pros and cons of SONA 2026, and your lived experience, what would be your score for the state of our nation under John Dramani Mahama II?
Well, I am not ready to give him an A. As a nation, we are in the early period. As a nation, the research agenda is going on. So many areas of the economy have seen improvements, significant improvements.
But let's make it easier. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, what would you score?
I will give him a B+. Now, in the University of Cape Coast, 80 is an A. So he's scoring somewhere between 75 to 78.
I see. Very well. We'll leave it here. Thank you so much for talking to us.
But I still have a little more to do in terms of cracking down of those who have taken or dissipated the state assets in terms of accountability.
I see. So what we'll do then is, gentlemen, we'll wait for the next stage of the conversation. Dr. Danko, don't go yet. We'll talk security matters next. Let's take a listen to the president when he spoke on the security of our nation. Remember, I've already told you that he did pat the security services on the backs for recent operations that led to the arrest of some wanted people on their list and the rescue of the fisher folk as well. Let's go back into time.
Mr. Speaker, let me take this moment to commend the IGP and his men for the recent major successes they are chalking in bringing dangerous criminals to justice. The trust of the Ghanaian people in their police service is rising again. And I urge you to keep up the standard.
Well, still with me, Dr. Palgrave Boakye Dankwa, former government spokesperson on governance and security. We also do have Dr. Jonathan Asante Okyere, who is a political analyst, but he's also an executive director of. He's also executive director. Well, Dr. Asante Okyere, you have to remind us again your institution, because I was trying to read that off the teleprompter. The teleprompter has failed me. Dr. Jonathan Asante Okyere is a political analyst and executive director of the African Institute of Strategic Studies. And then joining us now is Richard Kumado, who is a security analyst. Gentlemen, again, here we are. Richard, you're welcome to the conversation. We already have two people on, but I'll start with you. We heard the president when he talked about the security. Besides praising the work that they had done, he thought that trust had deepened between the public and the police. He also talked about retooling the Ghana Armed Forces, including issues of accommodation. Your thoughts on the state of the nation as far as our security services are concerned? Impressed?
Definitely. I think as just media, the same more aware about the aspect of them. But that's not the nation. It's a compatibility. So here comes to the whole to the element platform to give account of what will happen. And I think that's exactly the president did. And now in the area of security, you read that there can be certain inflation is fund, and it just compared that we fund the security management. So what decided to do is establish a full loaded to this or medical dramatic of teaching. The one at amount to salary. Yesterday, we were told that there was to be for this without house the have one for food. So generally speaking, so military or military capacity, some you have months to name now you're going to have always the Marco and he has essentially did that because of the issues of hiring that having. And therefore,
Richard,
then said the fact that
I see. Richard, I'm afraid I've had to cut in your submission because we are having challenges with your audio. The connection is very choppy. What we'll do is we will take you off and reconnect. But I still have two gentlemen with me here, so we'll have the conversation. Dr. Boakye Dankwa, on the subject of security, you had already begun the conversation around border security, correct?
Very much so. So, Kimani, I think that my colleague doctor mentioned that it's long overdue that President John Dramani Mahama has not appointed a substantive minister for defense. And I want to ask the president, what information is he aware of that the entire Ghanaian people are not aware of that is preventing him from appointing a substantive minister for defense? is so troubling. It exposes us to a lot of risk, and the indicators are so clear and so wide. I think that sometime all throughout 2025, I brought out a data of the level of incidents that have happened and occurred and triggers that have occurred across the length and breadth of the country. Dotted incidents across the length of the breadth of the country, from Greater Accra to Ashanti region to Bono to Northern region to Upper East to Upper West. Dotted incidents all across board. And I mean, look at it. We have an incidents on the land, we have an incidents on our maritime, and it's clearly an indication that the president must be in a hurry to appoint a substantive minister for defense. I thought that this was going to be an opportunity for him to highlight it at the tail end of his State of the Nation address, that Mr. Speaker, my cabinet have considered a nominee for the for Minister for Defense, and the name would be submitted to you for the appointment committee to vet the person so that individual can start his work. And I'm still in awe that the president has still not appointed and given us a name. But you see, there are a few things that we must be able to advise the government, and I would like to put that out very clearly. Kimani, where we find ourselves, and especially with the countries that are bordered to us, it is important that we take our security and intelligence gathering very, very seriously. There is no way we can be able to combat the threats of terrorism if we do not take our security and intelligence gathering seriously. It is also important that in taking our security very seriously, we also look at the risk that is involved in terms of the livelihood risk and also enforcement gap. There's a lot of enforcement gap that we are receiving some signals from, and intelligence must be a priority. Okay, there are a lot of escalating risks that we keep picking up from our neighboring countries. There are high levels of some arsenals that are coming in, and I'm very certain that these are issues that a president should be aware of. If you look at all the issues that have happened from our traders, you look at escalating food insecurity that is coming up, you look at illegal mining and the threats to our ecosystem, you rate in all of those incidents. And I mean, I think that, look, this could have been a very nice State of the Nation address to have ended it with the president saying, look, it takes 9 months for you to have 1 year in prison. In the security sector, a vacuum of almost 7 months is long overdue. The president did mention that Ghana is going to be 69 years. Are we going to be celebrating independence anniversary without a substantive minister for defense? Wherein lies our sovereignty? I had suggested that the President John Dramani Mahama, there was no constitutional limitations for him to have said that he was standing in as a substantive minister for defense. He himself, as the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, it would have settled all other arguments because he had opportunity to do that. But now he's left the space vacuum and empty. Look at it. The Minister for Interior has to be moving from his jurisdictional responsibility of Ghana to go into Burkina Faso to be attending to issues and bringing in the Minister for Foreign Affairs as well. Imagine that we have a substantive Minister for Defense. There are policy issues that must be handled. There are political decisions that must be taken. And these are decisions that cannot be taken either by the Chief of Defense Staff. You need a substantive Minister for Defense who can be able to gather intelligence. And remember, I had earlier on cited the indication that Burkina Faso had left the ECOWAS sub-region in terms of being a member of ECOWAS. They have also left ICC, which is the International Criminal Court. So if you look at these two international organizations that Burkina Faso has left, together with Niger and Mali and all those countries that have formed the Sahel region, it is important that as a country, we begin to have some bilateral conversations to be able to see how we can be able to share intelligence, even though they are not part of ECOWAS and we are not part of Sahel.
Dr. Dankwa, I'd like to think that given the relationship between we have seen between our president and the leader of that country, Ibrahim Traore, there would be that sharing of intelligence already, don't you think?
You know, Kimeli, you have been practicing journalism for a very long time. I mean, for those of us in the security architecture, we must pretty much understand and appreciate that when it comes to security issues, it goes beyond your friendship. It goes beyond your diplomatic lines because, I mean, you deal with ECOWAS, where ECOWAS has a security standby force. You deal with ECOWAS, where ECOWAS decided to have an Accra initiative where you can share intelligence across board to the various sub-regions. And herein, there are no more members of ECOWAS. And so if there are no more members of ECOWAS, it triggers the intention that they will not be voluntarily willing to be able to share intelligence with you. And Kimeni, if we are minded to note, we must also note that with the level of threats and with the level of attacks that are coming at us, it clearly means that something is not happening well. We are either not gathering enough intelligence, we are either not doing a lot of gathering of surveillance, because every single time we must preempt. We must not wait for issues to happen before we can preempt. Look at the number of minutes it took the Ghana Navy to be able to rescue our fishermen, even though they were within a few miles away, nautical miles away from our water shores. And these are key issues that we cannot take for granted. Today, it is fishermen that they are taking. Do you know what really happens on the pirate grounds? It is terrorists that go into the pirate grounds. Terrorists always come to the Gulf of Guinea to perpetuate their acts. They look for oil, they look for gold, and those are the avenues that they use to smuggle those things. And it's important that we cannot leave our borders so porous.
Absolutely, absolutely, Doc. I appreciate your time tonight. I'm going to have to let you go now. Thank you very much for your insights on the subject matter for tonight. Dr. Palgrave Boakye Danquah is former government spokesperson on governance and security. Still with me is Richard Kumado, security analyst, extensive knowledge in national security and national security affairs and fraud. Richard, I saw that you heard Dr. Boakye Danquah. You disagreed on a few things that he spoke about. Talk to me about what you disagreed with and why.
No, can you know by understand that I don't do remarks because we need to take it. We come to speak about serious things. I can't take my brother please and do propaganda stuff. I can tell every Ghanaian that when you leave, with your eyes closed. The young man who is a the Vienna, just people around intelligence for overtakers, and we will about intelligence. I have 3 days experience security intelligence. Yeah, when you're talking about CDS, that is experience, sir. You're the president applauding IG when he became another. When his gang was power, for the military of this country, please some level of humanity, play with issues. He was talking of Burkina Faso. It's not forgetting that Gabate has been pointed at envoy Burkina Faso. When it comes to security intelligence and tension of who is the enemy, who is the predator of the This is on us. We are elected after this within, and we are everything to go to ensure that national security guarantees are achieved, security assurances provided in terms, public safety challenges are addressed, and security intelligence effectiveness made available for national decision policymakers decision. Can you be clear this one? We are talking about Minister for Defense. Do you know that all activities of the military end up as chief of the staff, and when the military needs something, the executive secretary or the chief of staff in chief of defense have right to the ministry material, the left forward there to the chief of staff office of the president. When they retain it comes through the secretary, it's only when the military needs ability to present him. That is when you ask politicians to come. Is the minister for India or the minister for national security? And this folks information about Muta have not forgotten that it was the people that come there.
Richard, I feel terrible. I feel terrible about doing this, but I still cannot hear you. I cannot hear a full sentence you say. The audio is very muffled, and I apologize. We'll have to end our conversation, unfortunately. I allowed it to go on hoping that I could hear you, but obviously you have concerns around the criticism with the president's inability to appoint a substantive defense minister as of now. This is something we should continue tomorrow. Key Points Weekend Central throughout our news broadcasts for the rest of the weekend. Right now, however, I want us to take a break. When we come back, let's talk health, let's talk education, because important issues were raised there as well. I'll be right back.
It's that time of the year when Media General transforms into Ghana's cultural hub, and this year we're taking it to another level. Our Ghana village is bigger and better. So much to experience, eat, drink, buy, do and learn every single day. And there's more. The Ghana Month Expedition offers 3 nights and 4 days of pure, unforgettable fun touring the best part of the Eastern, Ashanti and Central regions from the 19th to the 22nd of March. And on the 28th March, all roads lead to the Legon City Mall for your favorite food event, the 3FM Gobe Festival. But that's not all. All throughout March, our screens and dials celebrate everything that makes us proud. Our shows, music, movies, festivals, history, traditions, and more. Welcome to a truly incomparable and totally immersive Ghana Month 2026. Ghana Month launches on all Media General platforms on Monday, 2nd March 2026 at 10 a.m. It's that time of the year when Media General transforms into Ghana's cultural hub, and this year we're taking it to another level. Our Ghana village is bigger and better. So much to experience, eat, drink, buy, do and learn every single day. And there's more. The Ghana Month Expedition offers 3 nights and 4 days of pure, unforgettable fun touring the best part of the Eastern, Ashanti and Central regions from the 19th to the 22nd of March. And on the 28th March, all roads lead to the Legon City Mall for your favorite food event, the 3FM Gobe Festival. But that's not all. All throughout March, our screens and dials celebrate everything that makes us proud. Our shows, music, movies, festivals, history, traditions, and more. Welcome to a truly incomparable and totally immersive Ghana Month 2026. Ghana Month launches on all Media General platforms on Monday, 2nd March 2026 at 10 a.m. It's that time of the year when Media General transforms into Ghana's cultural hub, and this year we're taking it to another level. Our Ghana village is bigger and better. So much to experience, eat, drink, buy, do and learn every single day. And there's more. The Ghana Month Expedition offers 3 nights and 4 days of pure, unforgettable fun touring the best part of the Eastern, Ashanti and Central regions from the 19th to the 22nd of March. And on the 28th March, all roads lead to the Legon City Mall for your favorite food event, the 3FM Gobe Festival. But that's not all. All throughout March, our screens and dials celebrate everything that makes us proud. Our shows, music, movies, festivals, history, traditions, and more. Welcome to a truly incomparable and totally immersive Ghana Month 2026. Ghana Month launches on all Media General platforms on Monday, 2nd March 2026 at 10 a.m. It's that time of the year when Media General transforms into Ghana's cultural hub, and this year we're taking it to another level. Our Ghana village is bigger and better. So much to experience, eat, drink, buy, do and learn every single day. And there's more. The Ghana Month Expedition offers 3 nights and 4 days of pure, unforgettable fun touring the best part of the Eastern, Ashanti and Central regions from the 19th to the 22nd of March. And on the 28th March, all roads lead to the Legon City Mall for your favorite food event, the 3FM Gobe Festival. But that's not all. All throughout March, our screens and dials celebrate everything that makes us proud. Our shows, music, movies, festivals, history, traditions, and more. Welcome to a truly incomparable and totally immersive Ghana Month 2026. Ghana Month launches on all media general platforms on Monday, 2nd March 2026 at 10 a.m. It's that time of the year when Media General transforms into Ghana's cultural hub, and this year we're taking it to another level. Our Ghana Village is bigger and better. So much to experience, eat, drink, buy, do and learn every single day. And there's more. The Ghana Month Expedition offers 3 nights and 4 days of pure, unforgettable fun touring the best part of the Eastern, Ashanti and Central regions from the 19th to the 22nd of March. And on the 28th March, all roads lead to the Legon City Mall for your favorite food event, the 3FM Gobe Festival. But that's not all. All throughout March, our screens and dials celebrate everything that makes us proud. Our shows, music, movies, festivals, history, traditions, and more. Welcome to it.
Oh, welcome back. It's still Ghana Tonight here on TV3 and on 392.7 FM. Now, President Mahama says no bed excuse is not enough to turn people away from health facilities. Hence, the warning to health workers. The president's comment during the State of the Nation address comes after the death of Charles Emisa, who was denied treatment by 3 public hospitals over no bed claims. Take a listen.
The Ministry of Health is expected to issue guidelines to eliminate the unacceptable no-bed syndrome. Patients facing medical emergencies must be received and given help, if even under makeshift conditions. You don't need to have a comfortable bed to save a patient. No patient must be turned away from any health facility they report to. Mr. Speaker, but in the meantime, government will expand capacity by implementing the Rich Hospital Phase 2 project to increase the number of beds at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. We will also continue and complete the Police Hospital project, and also continue and complete the La General Hospital.
I also want to turn to education because the president made some remarks on the education sector. Take a look.
The year 2025 was both eventful and momentous for Ghana's education sector. I'm pleased to report that all the flagship initiatives and commitments that were contained in our Reset Agenda Manifesto have been faithfully honored during the year under review. The No Fee Stress initiative was successfully launched in Koforidua, and as I speak has benefited over 152,000 young people, first-year students in public tertiary universities. The number of beneficiaries this year is projected to reach 220,000 first-year students.
Let's have a quick chat on the back of that. Bright Emisa Nyako is national chairman and president of the Ghana Coalition of NGOs in Health. Also joining me is Dr. Peter Antipati, who is executive director for the Institute for Education Studies. Gentlemen, we'll maximize the use of our time, so let's have this conversation together. And I'll start off with you, Bright. We heard the president sounding that warning to the health workers. Does that make you hopeful?
Very hopeful, my dear. Good evening to you and good evening to your cherished viewers. Civil society is very happy the president was right on point, and then we applaud him for the statement he made. He's showing love and commitment to the country, and then he's reassured the country that he's really resetting and in charge. We are very, very happy he added his voice to this, and has shown such a huge commitment of love to all of us and the citizenry of Ghana.
I see. But the question will be, what next? Yes, the president has spoken those words, but what impact will those words have as far as the workers who are supposed to attend to us are concerned?
Yes, I believe you would agree with me that the words of the president carries a huge weight in the country. If the president were to be a Supreme Court judge or the Chief Justice, it would have been a law by now. And what he said is directed at the health minister to carry out his duties and responsibilities on what happened to that young man in the facility. And he didn't just end there. He also made proposals as to how he's going to expand some facilities within the country and resource them.
Very well.
That is the biggest appeal we are making to the president, that this should never happen again. I mean, he should go by his words and then open up to look at this never happening to citizens of Ghana again.
I see. Doc, the president also spoke about the education sector. Did he tell us exactly what is happening as far as the sector is concerned? Are you also impressed by how he hopes to handle the sector going forward?
Well, I think that most of the things that he said last year, they have been able to see through them. So he mentioned the no-fee stress, scholarship for persons with disability, the curriculum review at the basic level, and all that. They are ongoing. I was expecting that the president will give us a little update on the teacher dabre issue in terms of the accommodation for teachers. I was also expecting that the president would touch on the allowance for teachers who have been posted to deprived areas. I'm mentioning these two because I feel that the teacher is always at the center of educational policy. And therefore, if you really want to ensure that your policies are going to be implemented and yielding the needed fruit, you need to ensure that the teacher is taken care of adequately. So I felt that the president gave a little attention to teacher recruitment, teacher redeployment, teacher welfare issues. But most of the things that they said last year, they seem to have seen them through.
I see. And I want you to comment on the focus on basic education. The president makes clear that his government is very concerned about that. And so they are paying attention to reforms and an overhaul of sort of our basic education in this country. One of the things they hope to do is to clear schools under trees as well. He says some 200 classrooms will be built across the country. But overall, what do you think about the plan to put a focus back on basic education?
Well, I think that over the years, we've complained a lot about the attention that has been given to that particular area in our education, our subsector in the education field. The president, I mean, this current government has shown some commitment in terms of allocating a lot more resources to the basic education sector. I feel that sometimes the things that you need to do in the sector to be able to get the needed impact are not the things that sometimes we put out there. You want to do AI, you want to do robotics and other things. They are good. They are very modern things that are happening in the system. But you also have to understand that there are people who need only just a classroom or just a desk to be able to, access quality education. So I think that if the president decides or the government decides to now construct more basic schools and make sure that they elevate the schools under trees and all that, that will make more impact in the lives of a lot more people than the focus on some of the things that sometimes we would want to focus on.
Where do we want to see the education sector, another state of the nation, SONA 2027? What would you say?
Sorry, please, can you come again?
I'm saying that where do we want to see the education sector by SONA 2027?
Well, I think that I want to see the education sector where the teacher is well empowered and well catered for. I think that we would want to see this teacher direct thing well implemented. We would want to see teachers who are in rural settings and deprived areas doing very good work, well remunerated and giving the needed allowance and assistance that they need. Then when the teacher is well taken care of, all the other things can come into play, and I think that the education sector will be well catered for.
Right, I'll give you the same time. Over the next year, what are the key important things that you expect this government to tackle in the health sector that perhaps were not mentioned at SONA 2026?
Yes, thank you very much. So we also were of the view that the president would have stressed on the Agenda 111 and even the 10 that he mentioned last year, would have seen some improvement on that, where it's gotten to. We were also looking forward to hear something on the payment of co-financing components or counterpart funding of government to the various donor programs, Global Fund, Gavi, and the rest. And then we were also looking at how the president would also improve on health facilities in general, the existing ones, and then and that. But we got to hear he's adding a lot of things to the scorecard, which we will judge him in future about, where he talks about building new facilities in the regions and then expanding RAGE and the others which exist. We thought we could have prioritized the building and the completion and then the operationalization or functioning of a lot of the Agenda 111, which was left by the previous government, so that the district level and the peripheral level would have enough capacities in terms of primary health care that he seeks to achieve and all that. So as he continues to add on a lot of the things you want to do in the sector, I believe he's increasing the scorecard, and then we will judge him about it in the near future to come.
Very well, gentlemen, we'll end it here. Thank you so much for talking to us and your insight on the subject matters. Bright Emisa Nyako, National Chairman, President of the Ghana Coalition of NGOs in Health, and Dr. Antipati is the Executive Director for the Institute of Education Studies, IFES. We'll leave it here for today. Join Alfred at 7 a.m. for key points as he assembles his panelists to discuss, obviously, SONA 2026. I'll see you same time Friday here on Ghana Tonight. Bye-bye.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Sasso Insecticide Spray and Coil.